Is property investing ethical? Well, actually it is, but there's a lot of sharks in the market and we're here to tell you who they are and how to avoid them.
So the ethics around property, it's one of the most common questions we're asked, or the most common comments. You know, property investors, the scum of the earth, they're coming in, buying all of these houses, first-time buyers can't buy them, screwing people over. And let's make it really clear, there are some of those within the property world, without a shadow of a doubt. There's sharks in every market. We've just been talking about, you know, there's sharks within the weight loss industry who are selling you fat burning pills laced with speed, giving you dodgy before and after pictures and basically lying.
Dodgy Dave the builder.
Yeah.
In the construction industry, everyone knows a dodgy handyman builder type person.
The people who take backhand of the government. Politicians. Look, there's people in every single industry, niche and market who are absolute sharks, but for every one of those, there are some good people. So how do you avoid the sharks? Let's look at it from the first thing, off-market property deals. This is usually where people will say property investors are unethical because they're, you know, screwing over people who are in negative situations. They're preying on the vulnerable.
What if they're helping them out though?
Yeah.
What if they're helping those people? What if you met a landlord that wants to sell but is really worried that their tenants are going to move out as soon as there's people traipsing around doing viewings, so they want to sell their property off market to stop the whole of the town looking around their property?
What about the people who are selling up their properties and don't want everyone else to know how much money they're making for it or what the property is worth? So they don't want to put it on, you know, Rightmove, Zoopla on the market. They don't want to advertise either one, what the property is being sold for, or they don't want to advertise that they are moving. What about the people who've already moved out? There's an empty house and they're concerned that as soon as it's advertised, people are going to start, you know, it's facing vandalism, it's, you know, squatters, all of those different things.
What if you're a landlord and you build a relationship with an investor and you want to sell your property to them over time for tax reasons?
Yeah.
And you just think, yeah, I like this person. We don't need to involve an estate agent because I don't want to pay their fees. Got a good relationship with this investor and I'm just going to sell my property one by one to them.
Speed and certainty. So if there's speed and certainty, which is what most vendors want, especially if they are motivated in some way, because there will be people who are facing negative situations, you know, they're getting divorced and they don't want all the neighbours to know that they're selling up, but they're facing repossession, all of these different things. They need speed and certainty, and quite often, if you look at how long properties stay on the market for, even in a hot market, with conveyancing and slow people within teams, it could take months, if not, you know, a year, to go from the offer accepted through to the purchase of the property, whereas established property investors, credible property investors, are offering that speed and certainty. It might be a cash purchase, it might be, you know, not doing all of the searches, so it shortens down the conveyancing period or whatever. It's discretion, it's speed and it's certainty. There are so many people who need that, or as you say, the deals are being brought to you because they want someone who's gonna not mess them around, not gonna, you know, take forever in a day or deliberate over it, or the chain breaks that often force the reductions in prices in property anyway.
I would think it's smart to go direct to source if you're able to, and cut out the middleman. The estate agent's essentially a middleman, so if both sides are happy and there's no pressure from either side, how could that be unethical?
Now, there is an ethical viewpoint that we need to touch upon around that, which is if a property is on the market with an estate agent, they're doing all of the advertising, they've put some advertising costs into it, they've gone through the, you know, the process of vetting the house, determining the price point,
the floor plan,
making sure there's a copy of the EPC. Look, they deserve to be paid for what they're doing. So we're looking at the ethics both from the vendor's perspective. Like, I've bought direct to vendor with an estate agent in situ and paid the estate agent, give them the money that they're worth, and therefore you're not that shark in the property market.
No.
Because there are some who will try and circumvent the estate agent. You're going to pee a load of people off, you're going to get a bad reputation, and quite often those sharks are doing the unethical things like sale and rent back, which is regulated and most people within the property market can't or shouldn't do.
Or offering people way less than it's worth and not allowing the seller to be educated in what's going on.
Preying on their vulnerabilities.
Or pressurising them.
Yeah. the hard sell. Look, there are people within the market just like that. So how do you avoid those? Well, you want to surround yourself with the right type of property investors, you know, because there's sharks within the market. There are groups of them, you know, like a school of sharks preying on the vulnerable and trying to get more and more people on board.
But for every shark and more, there's property investors that are ethical, that want to buy good quality houses.
Provide good homes.
Want to provide good homes, that they want long-term tenants. Is property investing unethical? No. Is it unethical to take a house and kick out a good tenant for no reason? Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But just because there are unethical property investors, there's also ethical property investors that run their business well, that still do off-market deals and on-market deals, but make sure that the deal is fair for everybody involved and everybody's happy.
The win-win situation. So how do you find these people? How do you avoid the sharks within the property market? Well, quite often they are the people who are shouting the loudest, and it's all me, I, look at how amazing I am, but there's actually no substance to their content.
They never share the downside. The unethical ones tell you everything's great,
sell you a dream,
nothing ever goes wrong, sell you a dream, and actually in property investing there is always an upside and there's parts that can be a downside, and it's being knowledgeable, being educated and being surrounded by the right people that keep you on the safe side of property.
And having that information from those people who have walked the walk, actually proven to be doing this. Not only sharing the downsides, but sharing the solution for it. So look, property investing can make you an absolute fortune, but it can also lose your fortune when done in the wrong way. So how to mitigate the risks, what steps to put in place, you know, the top tips that are going to make you go, do it this way and don't do this way, what to do and what to avoid, which is how we've learned, how we've built up our education around it, and knowing that there will always be challenges within the market, and sometimes knowing that you can't help that person, you know, knowing that you can't help that vendor in that situation at that point in time, and that's why you're relying on your network then to go, I don't have the solution to the problem, do you? Or let me introduce you to such a body. So taking recommendations from those people.
It's also learning from people that have been in the market for a period of time. Sometimes the sharks are the people, not always, but sometimes the sharks are the people that have been in the market for 5 minutes and suddenly know everything about it. It's actually, my mentors have been in the market for a period of time much longer than me, so they've seen prices go up, prices go down, they've seen different situations with vendors, so that you can navigate your way through property investing safely.
And often they picked up the pieces where an unethical investor screws someone over, try and really drill them down on the price. One of the most recent ones that we experienced was where they were advertising the property on Facebook for sale, which tells us that they're either in financial struggles, so they can't afford to pay the estate agency fees. In this instance as well, it was actually a case of they'd had someone reply to the advert, come and sit in the house, because there are lots of we'll buy any house of yours, come sit. And I said, I can guarantee you, I know the way that it's going to work. They've offered you X amount for it. Then they've sent in their surveyor. The surveyor is usually not their surveyor, it's, you know, Steve, their mate, who comes in a suit, shirt and tie and tells them the property has all of these defects and is, although we've offered you this, it's now this. And honestly, this lady sat in the room and went, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
Because this is what people are doing. So it's knowing that we're often picking up the pieces from these unethical people who fully set out with that intention, or sometimes it might be that they're not actually a shark and there are actual defects, and you're cementing the thought process that this person was telling you the truth. And it's making sure that you are erring on the side of caution, you're giving educated information and communicating with the vendors. Because off-market is a great thing. It is needed for people who don't want to pay estate agency fees, for people who want discretion for whatever reason. You know, there are going to be people who are facing abuse, domestic abuse, physical abuse, you know, tirades of abuse from local people, you know, they're hated by the neighbours for whatever reason. They don't want to advertise that they are selling their property and open themselves up to any more scrutiny or, you know, potential physical harm. So there is a place for all of these off-market sales. And if you look at the statistics, it's stating that estate agents will sell properties off-market before they advertise them to their favourite investors. Some of them will be a favourite investors thing. Some of it will just be, this vendor is in dire straits and we need you to come in and save the day.
Because they want speed, they want certainty. And there's nothing unethical about that. There's situations that I've seen where landlords have wanted to sell properties for less than the market value because it will save them some tax that they're going to have to pay anyway, so they'd rather give you the discount. Is that unethical? No, it's just some people don't see these situations. Also, people always assume that everybody wants to take the top price for their house. Is it unethical if somebody can sell their house slightly cheaper, but they can sell it within 7 days? That's swapping
Because
time
they found their
for
ideal
money.
home.
Yeah.
It all comes down to perspective, doesn't it? And understanding the motivations of the vendor. Being in a position where you give the best price possible for that person, but you also get a great deal yourself. And that it's passed on along the chain, you know, helping so many different people. A lot of the people who believe that property, you know, sweeping statement, property is unethical, all property investors are sharks, whatever the terminology is. Quite often that's because they're getting the information from, you know, the local news or the media who are telling you broad brush that this is what happens. But what they're not doing is championing the local investor who's buying up those really unwanted, unloved houses, the ones that have maybe been, you know, the local crack den or whatever, and bringing them up to great properties. Because we're all doing this to make money. Yes, money is a motivation. The vendor's selling the house to make money. The investor is buying the house to make money. The person renting the property wants to pay the least amount of money to rent the property. So it is a business, but business is built on relationships.
But maybe the person renting also wants to pay a fair price for a fair quality standard property. And also the investor that's investing and buying those unwanted, unloved properties, they're providing work to the tradesmen.
Enterprise. And I think this educated view is the difference between the off-market all property investing is unethical versus actually there are some sharks in the water, but there's plenty for every negative person. There's 2, 3, 4 positive people.
Also, the news can quite often assume that every single person in the whole world wants to buy a house, but some people like to live in rented accommodation. So if anything happens to the boiler, they can ring up the investor, their landlord, the agent, whoever manages that property.
And not deal with
some
the problem.
people might not want to be tied to one area, so they want to rent, so they've got a little bit more fluid lifestyle so that they can do what they like.
But then if this is the case and you are thinking, okay, I started listening to this video, watching this video, thinking actually property investing is unethical, and now you've got a different viewpoint on it, or you want a bit more information, then you should absolutely access our free report. I call it a report, it's actually an ebook. It's our mentor, Mark Homer, who's the co-founder of Progressive Property. You know, Emerald said earlier on, we get our information from people who've been doing this for decades. Rob and Mark have been doing this for in excess of 15 years. So if you want to access that educated information, you can access the 42 top tips of Mark Homer, in the comments below.
In the comments.
On a link somewhere around us or in the description. Access that, get educated, learn more about this, understand it, and then make an informed view on your viewpoints around property and whether it is ethical. So,
in summary, is property investing unethical? No, it's not. It's completely ethical. It's providing a quality service to people that need that service. Is there sharks in the industry?
Absolutely.
Yes, there's sharks in every single industry, but we've got a great report that's going to help you stay away from the sharks and keep safe in your property investing journey.
People want speed, people want certainty, people want discretion. There are so many motivations why people would sell discounted or quickly, and it's how you help those people while building your own portfolio. If you've enjoyed anything that we've shared with you today, put it in the comments below, let us know. We love that feedback, and we also want to know what more to offer you. So if you're thinking, I'd really like to know about this, I'd love to hear your viewpoints around that, put that in the comments below as well. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll be given all of that information sent directly to you. Keep an eye on it all and we'll give you more of the information that you're looking for.